Hello, this is Gio. Hey, look what I have here. I have the PXL 2000 Fisher-Price camcorder. Now, there's one in the box and one out here. Now, I also have this PLX 2000 TV. And actually, a buddy of mine sent all of these to me, and none of them work. So he was hoping that I could maybe take a look at them, maybe fix them. I'm sure if he would have spent some time, he would have been able to fix these himself, but his time is much more valuable than mine, so of course, I get to try these things out. Okay, so this is the one that's in the box. Man, what a sound. It's very similar to the other one. I think this one has more switch and knobs, etc., but it's very similar. And this one has some instructions, which are very nice to plug. I actually have another plug for this TV, but I have kind of tested them. They're not working, and so I'm going to open these things up and see if I could actually get them fixed. Now these, believe it or not, are toys. Again, Fisher-Price made these, and I believe they made these in 1987-ish. And so these were basically made for toys. And let's see if I could pop these. These actually fit standard cassette tapes. You know, the kind that you used to play music on. And so these are kind of cool. It's just a black and white recording apparently. But, and little kids, or well, maybe 10 to 12-ish age kids would use these. Can record some video on them, play it on a normal TV, or if you have the actual PXL 2000 TV like here. But I'm not sure. Let's see, the TV kind of works. You hear some sound coming out but no image, so I'm not sure if I can fix that, but we will give these little camcorders a shot. Open them up and let's take them down to the shop and see what we got. Okay, so I brought the two camcorders down in my workshop, and you can see they are a little bit different. This one actually doesn't have a little battery cover on it. The backs are somewhat different. This one actually looks like it's been modded. This little switch does not look original. However, it does have, I guess, audio visual inputs. This one actually connects to the TV via, I don't have that little adapter, but this one looks like it might be either an upgraded version or something. Also, it has this little switch here that also looks like a mod. So this one's been modded. So we're going to set this one aside for now. This one actually might have a little more problems with it, but we'll go ahead and put that aside. Now this one, I've already put some batteries in it, and nothing works with the batteries. But when you plug it in, it looks like the original plug's been spliced. So we just have to be careful when you plug this in. Pop the thing, and then, I don't know if you can see this, the rewind button, you hear something, and when you lift up, the rewind little sprocket kind of spins, but nothing else works. The record, the play record, they don't work. So, but that just suggests that it's probably some belts. So we probably need to replace some belts, and who knows? After we do that, it might actually start working again. So just start by opening it up. It looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 screws to be removed. Just to kind of zoom in here, you can see the back. It says 3300, 1987 Fisher-Price, blah, blah, blah. The other one says the identical thing. This one doesn't have a sticker, but the other one does here. If you can, I'm not sure if you can focus in. Let's try to focus that in. But you can kind of just see some additional information right there. But if this one wasn't modded, this one actually might be the more valuable one, just because it does have the additional audio-visual connections. But we will see. Let's start by removing these screws. Okay, so with the screws out, this is always the fun part, because you never know what is going to fall out when you I want to take these little battery compartments off here so I can remove those, put those aside. And it's always going to be interesting to see if anything falls out. It looks like nothing really is attached to this casing here, but we'll take a look. And nope, it's just a plain casing, so we'll put that aside. And here's the interior. Okay, unfortunately you can't really see any belts as it is, but you can kind of see how things work a little bit. You can see this little switch, if I can. This is just, I think, the recording switch. Let me zoom in. You can see how there's just a little switch, on and off switch here, that if I remove that, it just goes back and forth like that. But with this little trigger, if I can get this back in here, you can see when you move this back and forth, it just kind of activates the switch. So that's kind of how that works. And it looks like this little eyepiece can just be removed. It goes on a certain way, which you can kind of see this bevel right here. So I could just put this aside. This little lens right here looks like it just gets removed. Looks like it goes in this little slot here and just rotates. Hopefully I can get that back where it belongs, just like that. I'll put this aside. And then this little speaker here, I'm not sure. It's attached to a wire. Let's lift this up a little bit. And yeah, so it's attached to a wire, but it looks like it just kind of slips in like that. So that's okay. These are little battery compartments. There might be a little bit, is that corrosion? Okay, so these are just battery terminals. Battery terminals. Looks like the batteries, so there's wires connected to these terminals. I think those are the plus and negative side, and this connection and this connection are just connected, and so it's just a serial type of a battery connection, and then it goes here. So I don't see any screws for this circuit board here. There might be a little connect. Okay, so there's a separate circuit board right here that might just slip off. If I get this out of the way, could I just lift that up? It's hard to tell. Possibly. Yes, I think that will just slip off. Yeah, so that's loose there. And I don't think there's anything else. I think the whole thing just lifts out if I'm careful. I don't really see any other connections. Alright, so one thing holding it down is this little LED right here. You could see it right here, if I could zoom in. Just like that. And it looks like I can just pull this LED out like that, and it just kind of straddles right here. Now the other side might be, we want to remove this little terminal connection here. That looks relatively loose. Okay, so I popped open this and just pushing up on the spools here, it looks like it'll just lift off. So make sure things don't fall off. And so it's going to be interesting getting this thing back on, but there, I've been able to take the whole mechanism out of the exterior case. Okay, so looking in here, I kind of looked in here with the flashlight. It looks like there's two belts, at least that I could see. You could see kind of one of them right here, and this, I'm just feeling it, it's really dry. It's like, it's probably even broke. Has no flexibility whatsoever. The other one's probably the same. I bet you 90% of the problem will be solved if I am able to replace those belts, but I'm not exactly sure how to get to them right now. So I'm going to have to look over both sides very carefully. I would assume it wouldn't be too difficult, but we will see. Okay, this does look like a mess. Now, I'm hoping that I could easily just lift this top off. Now, looking at this closely, it looks like this upper plate is held by basically 4 posts like this. However, only 2 of them are secured with a screw. There's one right there and one right there. I'm not sure what's going on this side. I'll have to take a look. But this also looks like some kind of transistor. I guess I could look that up if it's a transistor. But it looks like that's also connected, so I'd have to remove that screw It looks like a heat sink right there. And let's remove those 3 screws and see what we have after that. Okay, does anything wiggle? That side looks like it's disconnected. What am I missing here? I really don't see any other screws here. Everything's loose on this back end and this side, and it's just this side. I'm thinking if I just, there, it just moved. So, will this just fall away? The question is, will I be able to get these things back on? Looks like there is wires and stuff in the way. Yeah, so there's a number of wires. There's these wires. There's these wires. Question is, can I flip this open? Let's see, there's these wires. Yeah, so basically it's the wires from the bottom plate to the top plate which is preventing me from opening this up all the way. I'm either going to have to do some desoldering, or I'm going to have to figure out how to get these things moved. Okay, so there is a little bit of bundle clip right here which I could just snip off to loosen some of these wires. If I can do this real carefully. Kind of loosen this bundle here. I could it's just a zip tie. I could replace that later. Okay, so I moved some of these wires. I can't get these separated completely, but if I can set a light in here, you can kind of see 2 belts right there, and I think I can grab them from here. One goes around, this right here is a motor, and then that's connected to this, and then which is connected to that. I only see those 2 belts, so I will try to take those belts off and see if I have a replacement. So, what can I do here? Well, this one's the easiest. So I will try this one first. I'll just remove that, and that one was on top. And there, got that one out. That one's on top. And then the one on the bottom, I think I could just slip off. Like that. That one around there, and so this one's on the bottom. Okay, by some miracle I did get some belts that might work. Again, this one was the one on the bottom. I think these, I took out 2 thinking that the other little camcorder will also need belt replacements. And then I took out 2 that's kind of equivalent to this one. So I'm going to try to replace these belts with the new belts and then try to get the whole thing back together again. Okay, let's try this bottom belt. Okay. I got it in. Might be a little loose though. Let me see. No, it's moving it. So hopefully that is a decent size. Let's try the other belt. Sorry you can't quite see what I'm doing here, but just trust me. I'm trying to get these things in. Alright, so I got that one in. That one also seems a little loose, but when I move it, it seems to be moving okay. So these belts might work. Okay, so I replaced the 3 screws, one right there, and the one holding this, what I think is a transistor right there. initially put this plate on and the transistor was in back of this, so I had to bring it forward. I did have to do some wiggling right about here because there's this little post right here seats into a hole that's right by the motor, and so that's how that fits in. And then I went ahead and took a zip tie and reattached those. So I think everything is back to where it was before I took it out of the exterior case. And so the next step is to try to get it back in this case. So again, this was loose, this was loose, this was loose, this was loose, and this LED was loose. So I have to make sure that those kind of stay out of the way while let's see, how do I do this? I think it goes in this way. Yes, the motor goes in this way. So I'm just going to kind of loosely just stick it in there and see how it sits. Move it around. And this is in the way. Just want to do it very gently. See if everything's sitting well. Looks like, oh, it kind of fit in there. It looks like it kind of just sat right in there, and hopefully I could put this little battery compartment right there. This was over here if I recall. Can I get this over here now? Lift that up. Forget exactly how this sat in there. Let's see, there is a seat right there. Okay, so I have to lift this up, put that in there, and then it should just fit into two little grooves, just like that. Alright, I could slip this back in here, the speaker, like that, move it around, and this is in place. Now this LED, where did this thing go? I think this thing went over here and sat right in there. Okay, hopefully that'll stay there. Very good. Move around here, and then I think it's just this switch. And I just have to figure out how to remember how the switch goes in here. I think it goes in here, like that. Get those wires in there. Like that. Switch. Get this switch in there. Just like that. That moves around good. And is there anything else that I am forgetting? Let's see, there's the batteries, switch. I think that is it. Okay, now there was the two eyepieces. Now, this was interesting. So this went in front of that. How did this go in? Let's see, does that seem like it works? And then I think that's correct. And then this goes along this slope like that. All right. So far, so good. And then it's just the outer case. So we'll go ahead and put this case on gently. It seems to be in the way here. Ah, there we go. There we go. Pop together. Everything's working. Alrighty. Now let's go ahead and put these screws in and see if this actually works any better. Okay, let's give it a shot. I got it back together. We'll plug it in, pop it out. I believe we should put in a tape. Stick that tape in. And, well, it works a lot better. Stop. Or, this is the stop actually. Rewind, and apparently you have to keep your finger on it to rewind it. And then to record, it doesn't really lock. I'm not sure exactly how to record. Maybe, let's see, Maybe I should read the instructions. If I hit, okay, so that, I hit that, and then when I hit record, there you go, that's how you record. Okay. Alright, so now I stuck in some batteries. There you go. Both here and here. And it also works. Now it sounds like it's running really fast, but that's supposed to be the speed for play. It like plays, the way this works is it really has to record really fast. So it looks like when you put it on the 0 right here and hit record play and then hit this trigger, it will record, okay? And then you could turn it off, rewind, and then hit play. Okay, so I actually opened it up again. So I did test it out after I tested it out on a little TV screen, and I do get an image, but the image was horrible. I could barely make my face out. The sound worked okay, but then I was thinking, well, let's open it up and see if there's an issue. And so this was where the lens was, and it actually kind of has two settings. It has kind of just a bright setting and a darker setting. But I took a little hand lens here, and I took a look at the lens, and it is pretty darn dirty. And I'm not quite exactly sure. It's a really tiny lens, and I'm not exactly sure the best way to clean it. I'd like to clean it and see if that's a better, if it brings a better image. Let's see if I can zoom in here so you can see. See if I can focus up. Can I focus? Not quite, but you can kind of see that is the lens right there. And so I'm thinking maybe if I could clean it out, I might get a better image. But I'm going to have to see about how I'm going to clean this. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do, I have just a little nail punch here. I took a little utility paper towel. So I'm hoping that this won't destroy it. But I'm just going to spray some isopropyl alcohol on it and see if I can actually get in there and clean it a little bit. Okay, I still can't get it as clean as I would like, and I'm not sure exactly how clean it's supposed to be, but it looks like this lens will come out, and so I'm going to see if I can actually remove this thing. And see if I can actually clean this thing up. There's the lens. Okay, so I skipped ahead a little bit. I'll show you what I did. So, if you can zoom in here. So again, I took the lens off. It actually was able to be taken apart. So this little piece comes off the top. If you can see, it kind of comes off like that, just snaps together, and you can pop this off. And now in here, you will find a little tiny, hopefully you can see it, right like that, a little tiny piece, I guess of plastic. I don't think it's glass. But this thing was really, I guess, degraded. It had some material on it. So what I'm going to do, I try to clean it off, it's not coming off. So what I'm going to do, we'll see if it works, is let me back up. I have 2000 grit wet sandpaper. Now this stuff is abrasive, but again, this is not a high quality device, so I'm not trying to get the best optics. But I can't get enough light in this thing, so I have to clean this a little bit. So what I'm going to do is just take a little bit of this paper. I'm going to wet it down with some isopropyl alcohol and just see if I can polish both sides a little bit. And I'm hoping that this will clean it off enough so it will look nice and pretty. Okay, and believe it or not, although there's some scratches on the lens now, the quality, the clarity of this lens is substantially improved. Just like that. You can almost see a little shiny there. So I'm just kind of letting it dry just a little bit, and then I'm going to replace it in here. Drop it in there. And there's two little dots here you can kind of see, and they correspond with those little holes right there. So you can put those in like that. It should just pinch together if I, just like that. It looks a lot clearer. So now I just have to replace it in here. And here you go. I was able to get it back together again. It does have some batteries in it, and indeed it works. Let's see, it rewinds, etc. So it works fine with the batteries. I can also plug it in, but we'll keep it just working on batteries for now. Now, the way I have a little old TV right here, the way it plugs into TVs, you really need an RF switch, radio frequency switch, and the PXL 2000 actually came with its own switch with a little adapter. I plugged this into this TV, and I think there's something wrong with the switch because I get a lot of static coming off of this. I had a secondary switch that I used, but it really didn't improve things. And so I looked around, and I actually I have a Nintendo RF switch here, and this one, the quality is a lot better. So I do get kind of some static here that I think is associated with the wire and the actual the switch itself, and not the little camcorder. But we're going to plug this in and see if we can get an image off this thing. Now this little Nintendo switch has some issues too. It doesn't really fit very well in this plug, and so you kind of have to, you can see it falls off. I'm going to have to find another switch that will fit more tightly in here. But so you can, I kind of have to wiggle this around to get it working properly. But we'll turn on the TV and see what we get. Okay, so I have the TV on channel 3. It's connected to the TV. I have it on the recording setting. I could also, if I hit this little switch, it will start recording to the tape. But again, it's very loud, and I noticed that the quality of the tape playback is extremely bad. And also you can hear the noise coming from the speaker, which is very bad as well. So we're just gonna play directly from the camcorder to the TV right now. Now again, I was having trouble with this plug, and if I just push it in, you can see it starts playing. Now the static you see right here is probably the little RF switch and not the actual camcorder, because this is substantially better, but you also get a lot of static on the side. So I'm really going to have to replace this switch somehow. But you can see, this is me with my winter beard, and this is about as good of an image that this thing can get. You really need a lot of light. The light in this room right now is not that bright, but that's it. That's the image. Sorry for the static. The static, again, I think is the cable itself and not the camcorder. But I did get it working. There is an image. Here I am, smiling at you. And so it works for a toy. And there you go. That's my adventure fixing this PXL 2000 Fisher-Price camcorder. A lot of effort for really bad video quality, but hey, it actually works, and for the 1980s, that was pretty impressive for a toy. But, well, I hope you enjoy this video, and if you did, please hit that like button at the bottom of the screen, and even consider subscribing to my channel. I'll have many more videos to come. Bye-bye.